All right, so the civil trial is there, right? Looking forward, and especially after coming off of last night's elections, if you're Donald Trump and you're sitting there today, okay, Ivanka's got off the stand, I wait to see what comes next, but politically, what's Donald Trump thinking here going forward, and what's the strategy, especially Mick coming off the results last night?
He is going to ride this as long as he possibly can, because the Democrats, in that sense, it's the attorney generals in New York State and Manhattan, are giving him such fabulous ammunition to make himself out to look to be this victim of a weaponized government. Keep in mind, people are going to be critical of Ivanka, saying, oh, I don't recall, I don't recall. This is some stuff that happened in 2014. She was dismissed from this case because of the statute of limitations. I don't remember what I did yesterday, let alone in 2014. And Trump is going to be able to take that example and all the other things he's been through in this to say, look, they're out to get me. If Donald Trump gets reelected, the people probably most responsible for that are going to be Alvin Bragg and Letitia James, because they allowed him to make himself out to be a victim, and he's doing it in a masterful way.
I remember what I was doing in 2014.
That's because you were 9 years old.
When I see Ivanka Trump walk in, there's a part of me that pities the Trump children, because she was trained to walk like a model and to be this person that has to be perfect all the time. And she was always like Trump light to me, like on the campaign trail and the likes. She talked to women in a different way. And I think they have not had a normal life.
She had a great courtroom sketch, though. She looked fabulous in the courtroom sketch.
I do think, though, there's something to this idea that this helps Trump both in the Republican primary and in the broader context, and in different ways.
How about, okay, go.
In the Republican primary, it's evident, right? He's the martyr. The base is there for him. In the broader context, and I said this last night, Blake, I think when he is out of the spotlight in a campaign context, it's actually better for him with independents. It's when he's out there saying insane things and being unhinged that he loses folks. And here he's kind of subdued, kind of in the back burner. Folks are focusing on Biden. That's obviously the dynamic right now. But I think in the election year, when he's really out there again, the Biden team has to remind voters who he is.
Do you buy that?
I think one of the things that's happened, well, I do, in the sense that in each one of the cases, there's an element where the prosecutor or the lawyer, in this case, Letitia James, jumps the shark, right? And when the court valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million, and then you're trying to make the case that he inflated the case, there's no one in their right mind that can't go on Zillow and say that doesn't make any sense. Right. So that's the problem, is in each case, Alvin Bragg had his own issues, Fani Willis has had case, and Jack Smith has had an instance of this too, where you jump the shark, and Dan's right, the independent says, okay, I don't know that I like Trump, but that sounds a bit fishy the way they're doing this.
So when you look at what happened last night, Daniel Cameron in Kentucky was trying to tie himself to Donald Trump. Lost. Abortion in Ohio, Donald Trump clearly sees what's going on, because he's tried to change his position, or at least brought it out, make it more, toward the middle. So
well,
going
Ivanka
forward,
was the one who had to meet with Planned Parenthood, right?
Did she had to?
Yeah.
So, but if you're Donald Trump and you see what happened last night, what are you doing going forward today?
Nothing different.
Nothing different.
Absolutely nothing?
No. Absolutely. It's not about him.
You're laughing. Why are you laughing?
Because when they lose, it's not about him. When they win, it's about him. That's easy.
I've never seen some strategy. Sean, you would know better than I would, but I'm not sure there's a strategy with him as much as just gut instinct. So go with what's going.
Right, but again, I think that, look, I'm not sugarcoating anything that happened, but Daniel Cameron is not Donald Trump. You're running against a popular and becoming government. No. And Trump's had this issue. When you actually look, and this is a statistic that someone shared with me today, it's not mine. When he actually ran and was on the ballot in 2016, Republicans picked up seats. In 2020, despite the election outcome from him, Republicans actually picked up seats. The reality is when he's on the ballot, it's a very different dynamic. He can't transfer that to somebody else, whether it's Daniel Cameron or an Ohio ballot initiative. It doesn't work like that.
Or any Senate race in Georgia.
Right. Daniel Cameron proved he was not Donald Trump last night. He had the most graceful, gracious concession speech where he talked about rooting for the governor, and I appreciated that. I think this is part of the problem when candidates tie themselves too closely to Trump, then they don't actually have their own values on the center stage.
What's different, though, in this election versus 20 and 18, and you're right, Sean, he did pull more Trump voters into those races in one states, in Indiana, Donnelly, and Missouri, Claire McCaskill, and picked up seats. But that was before two things, January 6th and Dobbs. And now he is the exemplar of those two issues, which are making Democratic voters red hot, which is why Dems are outperforming.
But every single swing state in the New York Times poll, save Wisconsin, which is within the margin of error, Trump's up. This shouldn't, with Sean, all those things against him, he should be getting crushed.
Where is Trump going to be on abortion?
I think that's the million-dollar question. You heard him equivocate already.
Right.
And he's going to play the same game where he's doing right now. He's going to say, I'll solve this in 24 hours, get everyone in the room.
He said he's the most responsible in the world for killing Roe v. Wade. He said
Right, I get it.
Yeah.
But that's so...
That doesn't mean he can't.
That's the question, right?
Tiny thing.
Waking up today and seeing what happened last night again. Where's he going to be? I don't know. We'll see. Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.